Speaking of Anthony Edwards, I was watching Minnesota and Denver last night. And look, Minnesota did not have Karl Towns. Minnesota, by the way, who I forget who it was I think it was Stephen A. Smith I saw on TV yesterday who accidentally called Karl Towns Cat Williams. He was trying to say Cat Towns and he said Cat Williams. Yes. And I cannot think of, that's a Somalia and Samoa situation right there. I cannot think of two things as close yet as far apart as Karl Towns and Cat Williams. I can only imagine if I let Cat Williams meet Karl Towns for 15 minutes, I can only imagine what the interview would be like about that.
Everything that Cat Williams would say about Karl Towns would be true.
Fair.
We don't consider Cat Williams an actual liar about other people. But when Cat goes to say, I dumped on Karl Towns, that's where we would draw the line. Because he would say,
I'll say this though. Did you see that? Did you see that video of him supposedly running that sub 540?
I need to see the stopwatch, but I did see it.
I saw the stopwatch. I'm like, this can't be true, man. Like, because the worst thing to happen with somebody like Cat Williams is just one of those things turning out to be true, right? I told you about the dude I went to college with, and he had many stories. One of them was that he once bounced off a manatee like it was a ramp when they was endangered. But he said that I can't remember if he dunked on somebody. He was just killing somebody on the court. I can't remember which, but he said the dude left and then he came back and he shot up the court. And then after he shot up to the court, he walked up to my man and put the gun to my man's head. And my man said he was like, psh, and just walked away. And we were like, wow, what kind of gun was it? And he said it was an AK-47. So he said he mowed down the whole court. Everybody left. But for some reason, he stayed. To get this concierge service from the gunman who put this blazing hot AK-47 to his head, and all he did was simply dismiss the notion and dismiss the idea. If any of his stories had ever turned out to be true, I'd have been so messed up.
Yeah, one thing makes everything true. Literally, one thing makes everything true.
Like I had a dude tell me that his brother grew up with Questlove, but this dude grew up on the back roads of North Carolina. And so that seemed impossible. And so he's telling us he played the drums and we were like, yeah, whatever. And then one day we pull up to his crib and it's a drum set, messed everything up.
Oh, no. So he became a credible storyteller?
No, he did not become credible. It just became impossible to dismiss everything. Right? It's like one of these, it's like Russian roulette, basically. Like there's only one in the chamber, but there's one.
If Cat Williams said that he dunked on Karl Towns, would it be impossible to believe? Or would it be impossible to believe because Cat Williams is 5'2"?
That's what I wouldn't believe that he did it on a 10-foot goal. But if he told me he found like a 9-foot goal, just maybe. But I will say this about that game, and it was interesting. Minnesota, and I felt like this happened to Minnesota in the playoffs last year too. They can get in these situations where they just feel like they need a bucket and everybody just start heaving threes, right? Whether they going in or not, they just keep trying. Like if anybody that's ever played golf and you get mad and you stop even sizing that shit up. You just walk up to it and hit it, right? You just keep going. You're just so mad. You just keep again. You need to just stop and breathe. Nah, man, you just keep on swinging. I feel like Minnesota winds up in those places, and I feel like it's encouraging that they didn't have Towns or Gobert, and they played well against Denver. But I also came away from that feeling like, why are we acting like the champs ain't the champs, dog?
Man, it was two things that came away. And I just recorded my podcast, and that was one of the things that I said, Mo, was like, there's an inevitability about, I don't know if it's inevitable about Denver, but it feels like Jokic is inevitable. And because everything runs through Jokic, like, you can almost close your eyes and visualize, okay, if it's a tight game in the last 4 or 5 minutes, you know what play they're going to run. They're going to run that high screen roll. Murray is going to give it to Jokic somewhere between 18 and 20 feet. And he's either going to back his man down and wait for somebody to come to the dunker or wait for somebody to not come and just score. Like, he's literally like playing backyard basketball. And when I say backyard basketball, I mean, like, Bo, you know how our philosophies are on letting kids beat you. You don't let kids beat you. You That's not a way to teach them anything. I feel like that's Jokic when it's like, oh, the game is close and you might be thinking about winning, son. Let me just give you this old man game and back you down to the point where you'd be like, hey, Pops, you cheating, man. You know this ain't fair.
Yes.
Like, I can't stop you from backing down. That's what it feels like with Jokic, except he's doing this to grown-ass men. We don't consider this to be an extraordinarily great Jokic year, and he's the clear-cut MVP.
And they're the champs. I don't know why we don't treat them like champions, right? So like when Toronto won that championship, I got us not treating them like champions the year after because Kawhi left, right? Like that was a fundamental change in what that team was. But these are the champs, and the champs are back intact. And Michael Porter has figured out, okay, so this is what I do here. Cool. Jamal Murray, okay, this is what I do. They got a dude that's at the center of this who, and I think this is a very important point about him. When your star plays like that, everybody know they got to, you got to give up a little bit because that dude be giving it up all the time. Again, Aaron Gordon is your fourth best player. They are the champs, period. I don't know who it is anybody think about to beat them.
Remember 2001? The Lakers kind of had like a malaise regular season. And the West had 6 teams win 50 games. 6, okay? And you know what the Lakers did that playoff run? They didn't lose a damn game till they got to the finals because it was inevitable. Because you had Shaq and you had Kobe, and this team doesn't have Kobe. But, Bo, there is this sort of air that Denver has. Like when a champion walks into a building, they know how long they have to play to put you away. They know how hard they have to play. Or they know walking into the building, we're the champs, you're not. And we know that you can't compete with us. And the game is won before it's ever tipped off. And I think that's the sweet spot that Denver's in right now.
Prize Picks is the most fun you can have by winning up to 25 times your money this football season. And now you can play during basketball season too. You just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. Prize Picks is really simple to play. You can make your picks and submit your entry in less than 60 seconds. So make sure you go to prizepicks.com/Bomani and use code Bomani for a first deposit match of up to $100. That's prizepicks.com/Bomani. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy.